We get it money when you make it money.
While many Americans have already pledged their no values, the political demographic who believe in a complete lack of morals and are committed to carrying out unspeakable acts of evil.
So those two factions of the Republican Party, with pretty profoundly different views, are at each other's throats about what to do with their newfound power.
It's not a civil war because they're not tough enough. They're just not.
Elon Musk is facing backlash from Donald Trump's supporters after his comments on immigration. This controversy adds to a growing discord within President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration.
The last few years, America's so-called culture war has been sadly overshadowed by our so-called war. But societal battles continue to be waged all across the country.
Second term, there's no denying that with some genuine political canniness, Trump has cobbled together an unwieldy and in many respects somewhat unlikely political coalition.
I want to talk about how it's about time that we had some budget cuts.
Donald Trump supporters went feral over remarks about foreign workers posted by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, future co-directors of Trump's proposed Department of Government Efficiency.
And that coalition delivered him the first outright popular vote victory for a Republican since George W. Bush in 2004. It's only the second time it has happened since the end of the Cold War.
Now, you can argue whether or not Elon is the one to do it, or Vivek Ramaswamy, whatever. I don't give a fuck who does it, as long as they actually cut some stuff that seriously needs to be cut.
Even to inauguration yet, and that factional fighting, I would argue, is bigger and more glaring than almost any other I've ever witnessed in American politics. You're seeing that right now in the battle over immigration, which has been exploding among the MAGA right.
Subject of the spat is the H-1B visa, which allows U.S. employers to hire foreign workers in specialty occupations, including IT and engineering. Staunch Trump supporters like Loomer, an investigative journalist and anti-Islam activist, felt attacked by Musk's statement, saying it favored workers from outside the U.S.
By the end of 2024, it became clear to the president that his people were divided, that their union was imperfect.
Trump said he's going to drain the swamp. You're damn right. He doesn't have to run for anything again.
And in fact, by 2025, it was the beginning of another civil war. It was between the far-right lunatics and the far-right tech lunatics.
Basically, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, the tech overlords who appear to be running Trump's second-term agenda, rely on highly skilled immigrants to power their enterprises. Those immigrants come to this country to work with an H-1B visa, which provides terms that are extremely favorable to their employers and also an amazing opportunity for the folks coming to work here.
On MAGA civil war, but without the civility.
A breakdown of the family, children being born out of wedlock, and communities and cultures in decay.
Now, just 1 year later, Massachusetts pro-family activist Brian Kamenker believes those fears have become reality.
Donald, everything we discussed is not going to work if you don't get rid of Laura Loomer.
Tenor of the political debate right now seems focused on helping people and making positive change, and that's very alienating for people like us.
A new Gallup poll today shows that 71% of no values voters are so far uncommitted.
And we don't have to run against him. He's no longer our opponent. Republicans are our opponent in Congress, for sure. But Donald Trump is done. Motherfucker comes into office as a lame duck.
It is destructive on many levels. You have to deal with it in business. You have to deal with it in the public square. You have to deal with it in the public schools.
So the quality of life is decreased.
What about native-born Americans who work like hell and slave away to work hard every day? Do you respect us native-born Americans too? We feel very disrespected. Elon Musk, let's regroup, Elon. This has been destructive. Let's regroup and talk about this civilly.
That's such a ridiculous question. I don't even want to answer. Are you like asking me serious questions or not?
course. Is it hard to stay interested in your wife with temptation out there?
Elon Musk is a pro-illegal globalist, and he has to go.
I mean, let me put it this way. If I could sit here and I could probably, find some way of connecting the dots to all of these if I had enough time and I did some research.
Yeah. Why take time to do the research when saying it is so much faster?
But, for me, it's just not enough.
In a recent poll of No Values voters, 54% said death is the issue they'd like presidents to speak more about.
We want to be able to look at a candidate and truly believe they have no soul.
I've seen one white supremacist. There's a boogeyman of white supremacy, which I don't think anyone can see.
Folks basically have to stay at their job in order to stay in the country. If they leave their position, they have 2 months to find a new job or risk getting deported. So you can see why someone like Elon Musk likes them so much. For example, this is not abstract. When Musk bought Twitter and a huge percentage of the staff headed for the exits, Vice News reported on how Twitter employees on visas can't just quit.
Citizens for a Bleaker America, a leading No Values political action group, demonstrated the total lack of moral fiber they want to see in a president.
Things that hit a breaking point.
By talking about no values issues, they're not going to win us over.
The MAGA Civil War really brought out the worst of us.
White nationalist is racist, Senator.
Well, that's your opinion.
I don't mean the worst of each of us. I mean the very worst among us.
My amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anybody can serve.
Diversity absolutely means anti-white.
Chick-fil-A, I'm hesitant to make a fried chicken joke, but they sell fried chicken. I don't know how much more inclusive we can get here.
Would lead the nation into unparalleled darkness and despair.
While civil at first, Loomer, like many other staunch MAGA activists, Trump's political vanguards, quickly lost her temper.
Oh no, another one of Elon's foreigner reply guys who isn't from America is attacking me and celebrating me being deplatformed. Notice, the accounts he reposts that are attacking me are all foreigners who worked against Trump in the primary.
It's led to more homosexuals?
I think that in the broad way, it has.
Of course, the Broadway has always had its share of homosexuals.
Be in favor of these cuts, y'all. It's long since time it should have happened. But don't let them have the cuts just so they can have massive fucking tax cuts for the fucking richest people in America while you don't get a damn thing.
And they see these oligarchs down there with 54 private jets, and they're not down there for their health. They're called together by Karl Rove, and it's a Stop Trump movement. And it's a Stop Trump movement because they want unlimited HB1 visas. Isn't the beating heart of this problem right now, the real beating heart of it, of what we got to get sorted here, is not illegal immigration, as horrific as that is, and it's horrific. Don't we have a problem? We've looked the other way on this legal immigration that's kind of overwhelmed the country.
The history of America is that an immigration on period is followed by an immigration off period.
A statement pledging to do far worse if elected.
Nice, but we don't want just pandering. We want the streets to run red with rivers of blood.
Donald Trump, the supposed man in charge, has been a vocal opponent of the H-1B visa in the past. Having 2 future representatives of his government openly support the program has given rise to rumors that Musk could be affecting Trump's policies to benefit his own companies, as foreign workers often get paid less than their domestic counterparts. Some have even called the South African billionaire President Elon.
You want to cut some stuff? I got a list of stuff that needs to be cut. How about the Pentagon? They're not going to do that. You guys want to work with the Democrats on cutting the Pentagon? They will work with you on that. There is a lot of bullshit given out to companies like United Defense, who's about to get the biggest tax cut they ever had.
All the different hoaxes, and the new one is President Trump has ceded the presidency to Elon Musk. And I'm safe, you know why? He can't be. He wasn't born in this country.
You want to cut some stuff? How about corporate welfare? Do you have any idea how much money the federal government gave Exxon last year? Exxon paid $0 in taxes, and the federal government owed them $100 billion.
Experts and analysts say it's likely that the Trump-Musk alliance could come to a premature end, giving the pair just 6 more months of functioning friendship before a falling out happens.
Adding the entire coalition. It's a big tent. Sleeps 2.
He has since deleted many of those posts, including one that replied approvingly to a post calling American-born workers in general a slur, the R word, for being too stupid to be able to do the jobs that workers on H-1B visas were doing.
Moment, he's back resting comfortably in his sensory inundation chamber.
An emblematic post is still up where Musk tells opponents of H-1B visas to F themselves before pledging to go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. Although he seems to have underestimated how much the MAGA diehards hate immigration.
Inundation, sensory inundation?
Yes, John. An ergonomically designed, fully catheterized, velvet-lined sarcophagus that nurtured on a constant stream of ideology-reinforcing audio and video.
They're like Vietnam flashbacks, but he enjoys them. Just an endless slideshow of like economic horror and societal collapse, just scene after scene of sweatshops and police brutality. And they're like, he's in his happy place. Look at his smile.
His online base of right-wing Twitter trolls quickly turned on him, spurned on by the likes of Bannon, as well as Laura Loomer, the fringe far-right activist, who spent much of the fall cozying up to Trump before his campaign stepped in and pushed her aside.
He's removed very infrequently for speeches and the occasional wipe down. They coat him with talc first, but he still builds up one heck of a stink.
For what? Giving us the privilege to buy their gasoline? The fuck?
Sarcophagus, what's it like to be inside that thing?
I'll show you, John.
What do you think the message should be to Nikki Haley tonight?
Well, we've been encouraging her to drop out and support President Trump, and I think tonight is the clear message that President Trump is the clear front runner. He's the winner in our Republican primary, and it's time for Nikki Haley to drop out and support him.
Can you tell me why so many people that support Donald Trump love conspiracy theories, including yourself? He seems to attract lots of conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist, and the left and the media spreads more conspiracy theories. We like the truth. We like supporting our Constitution, our freedoms, and America first. So,
what about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers? And really, why don't you off? How about that?
Wow. Even more shocking, look what happens a little later in the video.
Really, why don't you off? How about that?
Thank you very much.
I don't think that it's acceptable for George Soros, Elon Musk, or Peter Thiel. It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle a billionaire is on. I don't think that it's acceptable for billionaires to have this much power and this much access.
It's a little scary as to where this movement might be headed. Use a lot of the PR tactics and propaganda tactics that the Nazis used.
That comparison's a bit extreme, don't you think? I mean, what did the Nazis do that was so bad?
Like she's never soared before, from rocky coast to golden shore.
My very dear wife, Ainsley, indications are very strong that we shall move in a few days. Lest I should not be able to write you again, I feel impelled to write a few lines that may fall under your eye when I shall be no more.
What's happened with inflation has been unbelievable. A lot of people say, a lot of experts have said the stock market's the only thing that's doing well, and that's doing well because our poll numbers are so much higher than Joe Biden's.
Please don't let my ex keep the Hamptons house.
Everything good is 'cause of me. Everything bad is 'cause of Joe. Stock market, me. Inflation, Joe. Taylor Swift, me. Cars for Kids song, Joe.
Meanwhile, they take the stuff out of the ground beneath your feet.
Laura Loomer is a subtard, and all the MAGA people betraying me, I would never hire.
Elon Musk is the exact problem we fought to remove from this country.
Trump is on my side, and I am even at Mar-a-Lago right now.
The laughter of little children, that's me. That little Amazon fish that swims up your penis and shoots out spikes. Joe.
Trump has been a frequent and longtime user of the similarly named but starkly different H-2B visa program, which is for unskilled workers like gardeners and housekeepers.
They don't even have to buy the land. They just get the rights to drill through it and take whatever they want. Or now they actually have drill bits where they can drill down and steal something out from under somebody else's land.
Nobody knows the system better than me. I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me. I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers.
I am having lunch with Trump as I type this.
Make nice.
He thinks he is the president.
If you two can't get along, I will just bump up Mark Zuckerberg and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Total say.
And the federal government owes them money. We gave them all of our country's oil, and now we have to pay them, what, to allow us to buy their gas? It's insane.
Regardless, it was nice of Trump to back his co-president Elon Musk this time. Not that it helped much, as Musk seems to have backed down. He now calls our legal immigration system broken. And in one sense, you know, there's a bunch of weirdos online fighting with each other. You know, it's a day ending in Y.
Massive tax cuts for corporate America. That's what's happening. Massive tax cuts for Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Do you have any idea the tax cut Elon Musk gets? Billions of dollars. Billions. And I don't mean his companies, I mean him. Donald Trump has promised Elon Musk the biggest tax cut he ever got, too.
Whence shall we expect the approach of danger? Shall some transatlantic giant step the earth and crush us at a blow? Never.
This is a civil war where nobody at all gives a fig who wins. That's some history right there.
You want to cut something? How about corn subsidies that Richard Nixon put in to save his failing 72 campaign?
I really hate that sad loser.
Richard Nixon told his agriculture secretary to give the corn farmers money. Corn ain't worth shit. And corn farmers would grow other things. That's what real farms do. Like the one in my family. We had cows. We had vegetables. We had hay we're growing for the cows. That's not how corporate farms do. They've killed all the small farms by buying them up.
But these people, I mean, the guy who's about to be president, the world's richest man, they're about to be in power. They're going to be making decisions. If this fight was any indication, this fractured coalition is not going to make governing that easy.
Right? I mean, you compare black guys to black guys, women to other women. You can't compare Soros to another Jewish guy.
The Soros-backed prosecutors. Soros DA.
Soros prosecutor.
His master, George Soros.
Mr. Soros.
George Soros.
Soros-funded DAs.
You see a little farmhouse out there. That ain't his land. See a little farmhouse out there. Ever notice how they're all collapsing and falling down? So many of them. It's because nobody lives in it. Corporate company has bought up 80% of the land in America that's used for farming. And the federal government gives them billions of dollars every year to grow the worst vegetable in the world. I love corn, man. Put butter on corn. It's amazing. Of course, you put butter and salt on anything. It makes it good.
You look at what's happened to New York and Chicago. You look at what's happened to Los Angeles. We have a much different country in many ways, but also from a voting standpoint. They can't go to hospitals. They can't go to schools. They can't use their playgrounds for their kids. We're going to make a heavy play for New York. We're going to make a heavy play for Virginia, states that generally don't go Republican. I think they're going to go Republican.
New York City's homicide rate is 4.8 per 100,000 people. Alabama's homicide rate is 15.9 per 100,000. More than 3 times that in New York City. You never hear Joe Biden. There's a crimson tide, all right, from all the murders. No joke.
Massachusetts ranks dead last in illiteracy.
48th in per capita poverty, and a pathetic 49th in total divorces.
I just want to say that white nationalists are racist. I'm totally against that too.
Stop calling Tommy Tuberville a racist simply because he talked about having white skin and being a nationalist.
The State Board of Education just approved new rules for how to teach Black history in public schools.
How slaves developed skills which, in some instances, could be applied for their personal benefit.
This is well documented among historians. This is historical fact that slaves did develop skills while they were enslaved.
They're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life.
But I thought that business should be able to work in the free market. Are you not able to keep your corporation going without the federal government paying you welfare? You want to cut the federal government? You could build a house for every homeless person in America with what we gave Exxon last year.
Of Jesus Christ, a Jesus Christ who had to flee for his life with Mary and Joseph. Thank God there wasn't a wall that stopped him from seeking refuge in Egypt. Shame on everybody that separates children and allows them to stay at the other side of the border, fearing death, fearing hunger, fearing sickness. Shame on us for wearing our badge of Christianity during Christmas and allow the secretary to come here and lie.
But Donald Trump doesn't care about that. Because the next 4 years is going to be the golden age for corruption. You want to get in now, boys? Because it's up for grabs. And Donald Trump is dealing cards.
They knew they were making history, and it was the greatest adventure of their lives. The war made some rich, ruined others, and changed forever the lives of all who lived through it.
Hell, the man got rid of his son's ex-girlfriend because he just got caught screwing around on her with this other girl. Guilfoyle's out. She's being sent off to Greece because now apparently Kimberly Guilfoyle is the ambassador to Greece. Jared Kushner's dad is the ambassador to France.
To want to be reminded of history, we will show you what it was like to be a slave. When a great cry went up, we don't want to see that kind of thing. Almost the opposite of the Jews having Holocaust museums and all kinds of things. I regret that.
And I just heard that Laura Trump's dad is now going to be the ambassador to NATO. You know that thing that Trump thinks we shouldn't be in? His daughter-in-law's father is going to be the ambassador to NATO.
And no longer would there be living memories of long ago battles, only history and legends.
We're going to drain the swamp. That way we can move in these poker tables. I also got some adding machines I'm going to bring in because I'm going to take all this. We're going to drain the swamp and then charge you for the water that you're going to want to drink because that's going to be all the water. Because, by the way, corporate America owns your water, too.
Understanding of this nation has to be based, and I mean really based, on an understanding of the Civil War. I believe that firmly. It defined us. The Revolution did what it did. Our involvement in European wars, beginning with the First World War, did what it did. But the Civil War defined us as what we are, and it opened us to being what we became, good and bad things.
Because we gave it to them. Water used to be a public utility.
And it is very necessary, if you're going to understand the American character, to learn about this enormous catastrophe in the 20th century. It was the crossroads of our being, and it was a hell of a crossroads.
You sit down and think about all the anti-Semitism, so-called, not real, so-called.
You had to survive in a concentration camp by having skills. You had to be useful.
The people who are opposed to me are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
for me, the picture of the Civil War as a historic phenomenon is not on the battlefield. It's not about weapons. It's not about soldiers, except to the extent that weapons and soldiers, at that crucial moment, joined a discussion about something higher, about humanity, about human dignity, about human freedom.
This guy has a right to say whatever he wants to say, and it's not anymore, if you don't agree with me, you can't say it. That is not America.
Oh, of course the Jews run Hollywood.
Now, they suck it out of the ground. Here in Texas, call it spring water. And then sell it to people for $5 a bottle. And they buy it because they're stupid. The oil wars are over. Republicans have given in. Republicans have made sure that the oil companies are protected and are going to keep on getting paid. The next war is going to be water. And it's going to be a real war that will fucking matter to you.
All the armies of Europe and Asia could not by force take a drink from the Ohio River or make a track on the Blue Ridge in the trial of 1,000 years.
And Donald Trump is about to give it all to whoever pays him enough. Now that is how you deal cards. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Y'all take it easy.
Quote, I'm the only one who has ever beat him. Well, that's true unless you count E. Jean Carroll, Letitia James, COVID, the free market, and ramps.
We're inside your kitchen right now, looking through your fridge. And what's that on the top shelf? Migrants.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
Okay, now I'm less worried about the candidates and more worried about the mental competence of the voters. Someone should give us a cognitive test.
Why don't you off?
If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we will live forever or die by suicide. Abraham Lincoln, 1837.
Goodbye, Mitch McConnell. Fuck you. And for everybody else, Happy New Year.
That's disgusting.